Unfortunately, General Motors Cruise, which is General Motors, their robo-taxis have had one too many accidents. There's been a few recently, and they've now had their license to drive on American roads revoked. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching The Electric Viking. The California DMV has suspended Cruise permits after a robo-taxi ran over and dragged a pedestrian. To be fair, the robotaxi, this story is a little bit complicated. I don't personally think it was the robotaxi's fault. But what do you guys think on that one? Let me know. Cruise has had its permits for testing autonomous vehicles in California suspended immediately due to one of its vehicles apparently hitting a pedestrian. And that's what the media is saying, but there's a bit more to this story. The order of suspension published by the California Department of Motor Vehicles reveals the suspension comes after a Cruise vehicle hit a pedestrian on the 2nd of October. But the truth is there's been actually a spate of incidents prior to this. So when did this accident actually happen? 9:30 p.m., 2nd of October 2023, which was around 5th and Market Streets in San Francisco. Now the self-driving robotaxi vehicle actually hit and ran over a pedestrian despite braking hard. So it did brake. The vehicle then attempted to perform a pull-over maneuver while the pedestrian was stuck under the vehicle. So that kind of made things a little worse. What happened was the first responders or the fire brigade, they had to come and actually lift the car up using a machine. They had to lift it up and then they could pull the person out from underneath the car. The vehicle reached 7 miles per hour and traveled 20 feet while the pedestrian remained under the car. So it basically drove another 6 or 7 meters at 7 miles per hour while the person was stuck underneath. Officials from the DMV met with Cruise, General Motors, Robotaxi division after the incident. They were shown footage captured by the onboard cameras, but this footage ended after the initial hard braking maneuver, probably intentionally, I imagine. The department then learned of the car's subsequent pullover maneuver, and after discussions with another government agency, Cruise only shared the full footage with the DMV on the 13th of October. Now, Cruise says in explaining the basis for the suspension that the DMV said Cruise's vehicles are not safe for the public's operation and that they may lack the ability to respond safely and appropriately during incidents involving a pedestrian so as not to unnecessarily put the pedestrian or others at risk of further injury. The document adds that Cruise's initial omission of the full video hinders the department's ability to effectively and timely evaluate the safety of its vehicles. And I think part of the reason the California government has decided to revoke Cruise's license to drive its robotaxis in California is because General Motors were a little bit deceptive here. They tried to hide some of the footage, which I don't think was really necessary. I don't believe it was actually the car's fault. The reason I say this is because the robotaxi only hit this person after this person walked out onto the road. Another person hit the car, and they basically bounced off this car into the path of the robotaxi. There was no way it could have stopped in time. The only thing it did do wrong, technically, is try to drive, albeit very slowly, for around 6 or 7 meters. Not very far. Ultimately, said Cruise, we develop and deploy autonomous vehicles in an effort to save lives. In the incident being reviewed by the DMV, a human hit-and-run driver tragically struck and propelled the pedestrian into the path of the robotaxi. The AV, robotaxi, braked aggressively before impact, and because it detected a collision, it attempted to pull over to avoid further safety issues. When the AV tried to pull over, the robotaxi tried to pull over, it continued before coming to a final stop, pulling the pedestrian forward. Cruise had received approval to operate its robotaxi service at all hours, so 24 hours of the day, in San Francisco in August this year. However, it was forced to reduce its operating fleet by 50% 1 week after 2 crashes, and also after the robotaxis were having some street parties together. For some reason, a couple of times, all of them, no one knows why, drove to one street and just basically blocked that street, and they hung out together for a few hours. That problem was fixed, and then another accident happened. and then this happened. Now, the truth is, I think they're actually pretty good. Are they, do they work like a Tesla, the Tesla concept of being able to drive on any road outside of a city? No, they don't. But in a city, they're, in my opinion, safer than the average driver in a city. And I think that General Motors and Cruise working on this technology is a good thing. Now, keep in mind, the Chinese are doing this. The Chinese are working on this every single day, and that's America's competition. So you just got to keep in mind that if we take them off the roads for things where it's not really their fault, you do fall behind China, and their technological advantage will continue to grow, and that could be a bit of a problem. But guys, what are your thoughts? Do you agree with me on this? Do you disagree? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Bye-bye.